Hey everybody, this is Lorelia. I'm looking this a day to computers, but I'm doing a live today to just briefly go over. Oh boy, I think I'm really pixelated today, and I apologize for that. I should have focused my camera better, but I apologize for me looking real pixeled. But anyway, wanted to go over a article uh, that um, that I saw, which is right in front of you. What happens when you can't afford to go bankrupt? It was in the Washington Post on March the 2nd, 2018, and I've been meaning to do a video on this, but hadn't got a chance. But basically, to sum it up, I'll do a link under the post under this video so you can read it. But basically, the article talks about a particular woman that they highlighted. I mean, they just talk about really, to sum it up, about how so many people are facing financial hardship. And then, although they are finding a financial hardship and want to use bankruptcy as an option, they're unable to. And, as much as many people have been told that bankruptcy is the big taboo, you can rebuild after it. I did numerous videos where I've showed you where I've assisted people with removing bankruptcies off of, your credit report so you can move forward with prospering financially. But the one thing about bankruptcy, what a lot of people don't know, don't get me wrong, a lot of people don't like the stigma that comes behind it. But what a lot of people don't know is that it allows you to reset your whole financial situation. And uh, although I truly believe that, but the one thing about this article that I just wish I could really change this so the camera just doesn't look as pixeled. Um, but the one thing that I really want to highlight is that the article goes into why so many people are struggling to even hire an attorney to file bankruptcy, because there is a cost associated with it. And then not only is there a cost for the attorney, there's cost to file, and then there may be then there may be payments that have to be made to the trustee. And so, although bankruptcy allows you to hit the reset button, the problem that many people face is they're unable to make the payments that are required. How do I know this? I do not know this by theory. I know this because it happened to me. When I started my journey many moons ago, I told this story back in 1998. Um, and I didn't know what I knew now. I didn't know anything about rebuilding my credit, what have you. I just wanted something to kill the noise because I had these debt collectors who were on me, and it was overbearing. They were calling my job, what have you. I didn't know at that time that all that was illegal, but I just needed someone to be able to just kill the noise. And so the only way that I knew to kill the noise was to go to a bankruptcy attorney. Well, lo and behold, um, I found out because at that time I was only collecting unemployment. I didn't have a job. That me too, I was too broke for a bankruptcy attorney. So I couldn't even go forward with filing the bankruptcy because I could not afford him. I could not afford to even go forward with the process. And so, what I initially wanted to do to kill the noise, I couldn't even kill it because I couldn't financially do it. And so, I really resonate with this article because that's why I said I'm not speaking from a place of theory, I'm speaking from a place of knowing. But the flip side of it is what you're not going to get from the article is that it made me level up. It made me do what I had to do to be able to get into a better place financially. And that did not mean having somebody to rescue me financially, giving me the money that had to be paid to creditors to kill the noise. What I had to do was learn how this whole credit, the world of credit works, the world of relationship between creditor, debtor, and debt collector. I had to learn this. So once I learned all of this, it helped me. Now, for some people, I totally get it when your situation is so bleak, when your situation is so yeah, I'm so glad I see people are coming on. I never see these comments because I only have one computer, and that's the computer I'm using to film. And I see other people all are on the chat. So welcome. But when I was going through what I was going through, it caused me to level up. And that's what I was saying, is that for some people, they are so burdened by their financial hardship, that they're really at a place that they don't want to level up. And that's the unfortunate thing, because what happens is that you can begin to spiral into a deeper and a deeper and a deeper and a deeper and deeper hole. And not only did it cause me to level up financially in terms of my credit, it also pushed me. And that's why I said the second part of the title was being too broke for bankruptcy and being self-employed. And that is when the the um, the idea really came to fruition of me wanting my own, me being in control of my paycheck in terms of how I get paid. Because, like I told you, when I went to go see that bankruptcy attorney, the only thing that I had was unemployment. So he knew that, and of course now I know this with just being in the industry, not that I'm an attorney, but I just kind of know how these things work. You have to have some type of income to show, show the courts, to show the judge, so you can make payments. And they don't consider unemployment as a form of income. Although it's taxable, and I totally get that, but it had to be some type of income that I guess the courts would think is tangible, whether that's business income, whether that you employ by a job. So me being employed by a job was not the option because I couldn't find a job. So what I had to resort to, what I had to resort to was really exploring the world of entrepreneurship, the world of being self-employed. At that time, I didn't really know the role of entrepreneur. So I want to say that I was self-employed. Pretty much, I owned a job. And that was fine with me owning a job, because really, a lot of times that's what being self-employed is. You pretty much have a job, and the only thing is that the boss is not somebody that you report to on a daily basis. It may be numerous people, meaning it could be your clients or what have you, the people you do the work for. So of course I had multiple bosses, but I was still able to kind of control my time and control um, my paycheck. And so, how does this relate to bankruptcy? How does it relate to bankruptcy is really you being able to avoid the situation. And so, I've said in other videos where, um, the new program that I rolled out, which is called the Cash Flow to Credit program, is where I am helping people to go beyond the conversation of rebuild my um rebuild my credit, go from bad credit to good credit, and then go into accumulating more consumer debt to get back into debt. And that's a constant cycle and a constant cycle. And so what happens is that your income is truly um it's all related to how much money you bring in. So if you ask the average person in regards to, um, how does income come into your household? Most people will tell you, well, it comes from a job. I have a job and this is how I get paid. And so, how do you avoid bankruptcy? You have to have another stream of income, because whether you want to explore being self-employed, an entrepreneur, what have you, or a freelancer, what have you, we are really going in the day and time where you are being forced. That's right, you are being forced to be self-employed. It is no accident that a lot of people are using Uber and Lyft and what's another one? DoorDash, um, TaskRabbit. There's more people who are gravitating to that, not because of the reasons of, oh, I get to create my own paycheck and I make my own hours, although that may be the case for some people. But a lot of times it's because a lot of people just can't find work. And so, with so many jobs now not wanting to give you health benefits, of course, the pension is a thing of the past, and all the other things or perks that you get with being an employee. Many companies don't even want to provide you with that. They either want you to be a consultant, where you worry about all that yourself, or they will bring you in on part-time basis. And so the idea of what you may have seen your parents or your grandparents do is long gone. Whereas, you worked a job for 30 to 35 years and you retired from it. There's no loyalty. There's no loyalty in the workplace anymore. No loyalty. And so what that means is, with that fact that there's no loyalty, you're being forced to level up. You're being forced to create your own paycheck. And see, the great thing about when you create your own paycheck, when you decide to have something in addition, are jobs bad? No, but you need to have something in addition. You have to have something in addition, because I did a video where I talked about one bank account will keep you broke. If you just have one bank account where everything comes in. You got your paycheck coming in, you paying your bills from there, you doing your leisure from there, you're doing everything from this one bank account. What happens is that you are unable to track the ebb and flow of what comes in and what goes out. And in that video, I talked about why it's so important to have different bank accounts with designated things on what each one will do. Um, and that will also assist you with keeping track of your spending. So this is what I want to show you, right? And not only is the article you see behind me, this is it, what happens when you can't afford to go to bankrupt, but just so you know, what I'm saying is truthful. I did back in 2012 on my own blog, I did a article, and this was in 2012, and I'm going to show you why it was 2012. I titled it "Why Being Broke um, for Bankruptcy Was Good for Me," and apparently I must have seen an article, and I'm going to and there you go. So it was an article, there you go, in 2012, where CNN Money talked about too broke to go bankrupt. And it's pretty much the same thing being, rehashed in the New York Times, no, the Washington Post article. So here, this was 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 6 years later, they're still talking about the same thing, about how hundreds and thousands of Americans are expected to file for bankruptcy. The average cost to file for Chapter 7 bankruptcy protection The most common form of consumer bankruptcy is more than $1,500, according to the recent research submitted to the National Bureau of Economic Research. As a result, anywhere between 200,000 and 1 million customers are estimated to be unable to afford the steep cost this year. And so it goes on and on and on and on and on. And then it says what I talked about. Among those fees is a charge of about 300 just for the filing of the paperwork. That's the filing of the paperwork. And don't forget, you still have to make payments to the court. So now you've paid 1,500 for attorney, 300 for just filing it, and then you have payments to the court. And there are other expenses on top of that, including fees for mandatory pre-bankruptcy credit counseling and the pre-discharge debtor education course. The average about $85 altogether, according to the recent study sponsored by American Bankruptcy Institute. And so it goes into extreme debtors, and the list goes on and on. Now this was in 2012, 2012. And that is when I did the article. And so if you go right here, I actually um, did a I did a YouTube video, and this is it. Why being bankrupt was good for me. And May 13th, 2012. So once again, saw this article in CNN Money, May 7th, wrote about it, did my own video, gave my own spin about it a few days later. And here we are in 2018. I come across an article on March 2nd, what happens when you can't afford to go bankrupt. And I'm doing a video again. So not much has changed. Not much has changed in the overall concept of what the general public understands about finances, financial literacy, personal finance, because it's the same thing. And how does that saying go? Doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So many people are pretty much doing the same thing. And if I look at this article, it's so much of the same stuff is really being said. I mean, it says scores of people considering bankruptcy told me the same thing again and again. If they had 1,000 to pay an attorney, then they probably wouldn't need to file in the first place. It's funny how you buy bankruptcy, Marvel, Trina Wright of Memphis. Trina Wright is this lady right here that they're highlighting, who filed for bankruptcy in November 2016 outside of her apartment in Memphis, Tennessee. And later it goes on to say people who've hired lawyers to help them file under Chapter 7 have their debts wiped away almost without fail. National filing data shows, and debtors with attorneys fare far better than those who do it alone, filing pro se. Studies show clear benefits of those who successfully wipe out their debts, from higher credit scores to higher incomes. Moreover, this sort of targeted relief can help buoy the broader economy. And so, once again, this right here goes into the cost. So it said in the South, debtors often avoid the upfront costs by filing bankruptcy under Chapter 13. Unlike 7, which clears debts after the few months, Chapter 13 is a payment plan that usually lasts 5 years. Lawyers in the South will often start a Chapter 13 for zero down, allowing their much larger fees, usually $3,000 to $4,000, to be paid through the plan. This provides immediate protection to low-income debtors, but most are unable to keep with the payments. If they fall behind and their cases are dismissed, their debts return. So basically what this is saying, what this is pretty much saying is that, one, you need to know the difference between a Chapter 7 and a Chapter 13. Many people don't know. Chapter 7, you don't have any assets. Chapter 13, you have assets. That's really I'm giving you a brief overview of them, of the two of them. And this is by no means to give you any legal advice, but to give you an idea of how they both work. And so, pretty much like I said, bankruptcy does allow you to hit the reset button, but according to what this article is saying, a lot of people are not even able um to make the payments. And so once again, imagine being um imagine being uh in a situation where you are receiving an income from your job in addition to the other sources of income that you can be receiving from being self-employed or doing some freelance work. And by you having another stream of income to assist you with the one stream, it probably could avoid a lot of financial hardship. It probably could. So that is all that I have for you today. And I apologize that the video looks like a static TV, because when I look at the other computer, it just looks like it's real staticky, and I should have adjusted the camera better. So I apologize for that. But there you go. If you are interested, I am going to give you this information. Let me see if I can find it. If you are interested in the credit to cash flow program class that I do every 2 weeks, recently the last slide that I did showed you some of the things we're working on, and how I was able to help a client of mine obtain some business credit. So if you go to the yourmoneymentor.com website and you hit business credit, and right here will give you a free webinar as a bonus to show you some of the things we talked about. I'm going to give you a sample class, and then you will also be on my email communication list, where I will inform you of what's going on next in the class. And we actually have a class coming up Monday, so I look forward to seeing any new students in the class. But that's all I have for you today. This is it, being too broke for bankruptcy could be a good thing for some people. I'm going to sum it up like that because, like I said, one, I'm not saying my way is the only way or what I did is the one way, but like I use myself as an example. I only speak from a place of experience. When I was too broke for bankruptcy, it caused me to level up. I had to learn this industry, and this was before YouTube, social media, what have you. This was in the 90s. So pretty much all you had was books and your brain to figure stuff out. Um, and then and then it also caused me, because since I was collecting unemployment, it caused me to explore entrepreneurship, being self-employed. And so that was my next step. So once again, I look forward to talking to you in the next live video, and hope to see you in class.